Kia ora Rotorua, ahead in tonight's bulletin. Rotorua Boys High School pays tribute to former students killed defending their country. MP Todd McLeay says the Prime Minister's announcement of a $158 million investment in tourism is good news for Rotorua. And Bay of Plenty Rugby and Bay Connections join forces to establish the region as the international home of Sevens rugby development. The city's oldest school has paid tribute to former students killed defending their country with a special Anzac assembly. Portraits of the 64 students killed in World Wars I, II and in Vietnam were unveiled yesterday at Rotorua Boys High School. Former student Major Chris Gray represented the New Zealand Army and gave the keynote address at the assembly. Boys High Principal Chris Grinter says work done by the school historian Kevin Lyle was instrumental in enabling the school to hold the Anzac Assembly. He says the school memorial has forever been enhanced with the addition of the portraits to the names of the former students killed in war.
I referred to the 64 old boys that were killed in action in World War I, mainly World War II and indeed the Vietnam War. And their names have been in this War Memorial Assembly Hall on display for many years. But what we're doing is unveiling photographs of each of those names. And so I think it's going to make it even more personal and certainly more powerful having the face alongside the name.
Students from Boys High also performed War Letters to Home, a specially written piece by local director Robert Young. Mr. Young says the students have learnt a reality of war that for some has really hit home.
Well, we knew it was coming up at the school and we wanted it to be special, and my vision was for it to be very personalised for the students, so reflecting on actual archive letters written during the wars for the students to read really struck them in the heart.
Yeah, so those letters that they read out were actually war letters from soldiers overseas?
Yes, from First, Second World War, Vietnam and Afghanistan. And as one of the students made comment, gee, sir, this bloke was the same age as me.
Wow,
and
that's powerful, isn't it?
That brings it home.
Rotorua MP Todd McLeay says a $158 million investment in tourism announced by Prime Minister John Key will be hugely beneficial for Rotorua and the Bay of Plenty. Mr Key made the announcement at a tourism conference in Wellington yesterday and said that $158 million will be invested in the tourism sector over the next 4 years. Mr McLeay says Rotorua's natural attractions and deep cultural heritage make us the tourism capital of New Zealand. He says it's also a positive announcement for local businesses. The Prime Minister will further outline where the money will be spent at New Zealand's premier tourism conference Trends later this week. A moped rider killed in a road crash in Rotorua yesterday morning has been identified as 72-year-old woman Anna Rose Lee. She was killed in a collision with a car at the traffic light controlled intersection of Ranulph Street and Omaha Street at approximately 6:30 a.m. Police are talking to the driver of the other vehicle involved and continue investigation into the cause of the crash. In sport tonight, the Bay of Plenty Rugby Union and Bay of Connections have joined forces on a strategy to establish the region as the international home of Sevens rugby development. The potential economic benefits for the region from Sevens rugby are significant, and the region has already secured the national tournament, which is to be held here in Rotorua for the next 2 years. Bay of Plenty Rugby Union Chief Executive Mike Rogers says the profile of Sevens rugby have been raised to a new level internationally with the introduction of the game to the 2016 and 2020 Olympics. He says as a result there has been significant growth in the game from new players, supporters and sponsors alike. The new strategy sets out a plan to establish the region as a leading training, performance and education provider for the game, and involve plans to offer training facilities and programs, a Sevens education hub and hosting programs for teams from around the world. And Auckland's Lake Pupuki will get 1,000 two-year-old rainbows and 100 one-year-old browns from the Nonotaha hatchery. The trout will be transported to Auckland in oxygenated tanks aboard Fish and Game's live trout truck, which can carry up to 5,000 fish at a time. They'll be transported next week in time for the Lake Pupuki's annual fishing competition, which is to be held on Sunday the 5th of May. To your weather now, Rotorua. Tonight, rain at times, fresh northerlies and a low of 14. Tomorrow for Thursday, morning rain clearing, westerlies easing, a high of 20 and a low of 10. And the outlook for Friday, rain developing with some heavy falls, light winds, a high of 18 and a low of 11. And the marine forecast for Lake Rotorua, westerly easing 20 knots in the morning and to 15 knots in the afternoon, then dying at night, with waves easing to half a metre or less in the morning, becoming fine in the morning. Remember, for program listings and other info, or to upload video, check out our website at tvrotorua.co.nz, and you can also look us up on Facebook. Still to come tonight in City News, we take a look at the issue of immunisation as Lakes DHB prepares an immunisation campaign as part of the upcoming Immunisation Week promotion. And Alan Solomon talks about cyberbullying and new laws proposed to combat the issue with Councillor Irene Begg.